everybody. Happy Wednesday. I hope you guys are having a great Wednesday so far. Hello, Miss Dolores. Hey, Teresa. Hello there. How are you? All right, guys. Another day, another crazy story. Yesterday, we talked about a mother in law. Today, we're going to talk about a daughter in law who actually decided to poison her family. The reason behind it can be multitudes of different reasons, which we will discuss, but we are in the closing of it because she just now has been found guilty. Okay, so we're gonna go over all the details in which came out within trial. Alrighty, make sure that you guys do share the live out if you can. I would definitely appreciate it, as well as make sure that you are getting your letters in for the Royal Lockbox. All you have to do is email savagerealtyent@gmail.com in order to submit your letters. But if you want to remain anonymous, just put "Lock Me in the Box Royalty" as your subject line, and nobody will never know who you are. Okay, and you can write about anything. Alrighty, guys, this case here, we covered this case a long time ago, okay? And this is based out of Australia, so this is an international case, and it just closed out, all right? So this woman here looks like a really sweet woman though. She looks like she's really sweet. She looked like she wouldn't hurt anyone actually. But her name is Erin Patterson. And when this whole story came out, everyone was like, there's no way that this woman actually killed her loved ones on purpose, because she looked like, you know, she looked like the neighbor who cooks cookies for everyone, and she looked so sweet. But when you really dig down into the details about what happened in this case, then you know that she did it on purpose. Okay. So on July the 7th, the Supreme Court out there in Australia had found her guilty on 3 counts of murder and 1 count of attempt murder. So the victims were her in-laws, Don and Gail Patterson, as well as Gail's sister, Heather Wilkinson, and then Heather's husband as well. His name is Ian Wilkinson, but he did survive due to some, intensive care that they gave him and things of that nature. So in this case, it happened all the way back in July of 2023, where there was this beef Wellington in which she had served her family. She gave it to them for lunch, okay, at her home, where she deliberately had laced the beef Wellington with these death mushrooms, okay? Defense had said that it was a terrible accident that was caused by a innocent mistake, and she did not mean it. And the jury, after a long trial, and they came back with this guilty verdict, okay? Now, who is who? Now, the family background into this, when they went to this whole lunch date, okay? It was about 4 or 5 people that was supposed to come to this lunch date. When the story here first came forward, they were saying that they were supposed to be meeting because the husband was looking to get a divorce from his wife, okay? He no longer wanted to be with her anymore. So there was supposed to be some type of dinner, okay? That's how it came forth to us when the story first came out, all right? Now, Erin, she is a mother of two, and then she also has her estranged husband, okay? Then you have Dawn and Gail Patterson, and Heather and Ian Wilkinson, who are Gail's sister and brother-in-law. Her husband is actually Simon Patterson. And then on the day of the lunch, the date of the lunch was July of 2023. Okay. Now Heather and Ian, they had came to Erin's house, and this is in a very small town area out there in Australia. Simon had been invited, but he did not come. Okay. That's the husband. He was supposed to come, but he didn't. The family members had tried to get him to, but he had refused. So each guest, they was served a individual serving of this beef Wellington. Okay. Not a single family member, not a single family size. It was basically a portion for everybody. And this actually matters in this particular type of case because of how it was served and how the mushrooms were put in there that made it deadly. So within a day of them having this whole beef Wellington and things of that nature, all 4 of the guests had became really sick, okay, with some form of stomach issues. Now, 3 of those guests had passed away at the hospital, and they did have there were some that also did survive, but they had to get some prolonged treatment. Hey, Turkiana. Now, when it comes to the mushroom itself, why is it considered the death cap? Now, this mushroom, it can be foraged like in the woods, and that's what she says that she did. Okay. Now, what makes this thing strong is, and is the what makes it strong, but also what made it even more deadly in this situation is because of the portion. So death caps, they do hold some form of a toxin, especially when it comes to how it was served, okay? And how a person will be able to survive it as well. So these particular toxins that's in this death cap, they do have some enzymes in it that they do block the enzymes that is needed for the body to function and receive proper proteins, okay? And this particular mushroom, it blocks your body from doing that. Now, the result can be numerous of different things. Some of it can be nausea, some of it can be diarrhea, vomiting, and then other things as well, including death, okay? Your organs can also shut down if you take these death cap mushrooms. Now, the taste, it can be a little bit pleasant to some, but it can also be nasty to others, especially if you forage it in the wild, which you're really not supposed to do. So when I first covered this case, I was able to learn that over there in Australia, these particular type of death caps, these particular type of mushrooms are known to be poisonous. But it is also well known that you should not forage them in the wild, okay? And the only true way that you can get them is either in the wild, because the stores themselves don't really sell these type of mushrooms because of how dangerous they are. So that's what made the investigators kind of look directly at her, because why would you go to the forest, and willingly go pick up some poisonous mushrooms, okay, that everyone knows you're not supposed to have, okay? If the death cap had got into the cooking dish, like the beef Wellington, the cooking will not neutralize the toxins, okay? And that's why the portions matter. Because if she had made these portions, basically putting a death cap uh, get it together, Savage, per portion, it allows it to be a little bit more stronger, especially when it's given to one person at a time. So that's why the portions matter in this case. So what the investigator said in this is that they literally had to look at science and how science works when it comes to these death caps to determine, did she do this on purpose or was it a mistake? So when they went through the entire investigation, they discovered that there was more to the story and that it was impossible for this to be an accident, okay? Now, the investigators, what they did was they retrieved the leftover beef Wellington that she still had in the house. And the toxicology evidence, it then pointed to the toxins that is known to be in these death caps, okay? And the samples were connected to the meal. Now, what the court said out there in Australia, that it pointed to the recovery and the testing of the food in the food dehydrator, in which they say she used as well, okay? And they also attempted to argue that this had been that this dehydrator was used in the process to basically dehydrate the mushrooms to put it in the meal. They're basically showing that she went above and beyond to poison her family. Okay? Purposely dehydrating them and putting them in food. Now, the defense had said that there was some form of panic into this, and that the whole dehydrator thing was not her trying to actually poison them or anything, but more so trying to ensure that the toxins doesn't get into their system, is what the defense trying to point to, okay? Now, Patterson, however, she had served these individual pastries, and prosecutors had argued that the individual portions would allow precise control over who received the tainted servings, okay? Because why this part is important, not only did you make smaller portions per person, but it also allowed her to decide who receives the portions. Why this is important? Because her children did not receive these portions while they were there, okay? They were there. What she did for her children was she gave them an entirely different meal, including herself, because she says that she did eat some of the beef Wellington, but hers itself did not make her sick or anything. Now, she said that she changed the format of how she made this whole beef Wellington because she couldn't source the right ingredients to make the proper single Wellington and adjust it as she could go, okay? Basically, she didn't have what she needed. So she tried to go around the route by going into the woods and getting this whole death cap mushroom. Now, the prosecutors, they're coming up with 4 different theories into regards of why she possibly had did this, but also different reasons on or different routes that she took to kind of plan this all out. Okay. Now, one, she had created an entire fake story of cancer. Okay. This whole cancer diagnosis, and basically to reassure the guests to attend this meeting that they were supposed to be having. Okay? So on top of this whole divorce and her husband wanting to leave her, to ensure they come, she added the cherry on top of I have cancer. Okay? To make sure they come. But my thing is this, not even her ex-husband came. So it lets me know that he had already either felt something, knew something, or he just was so detached from her that he didn't even care about the whole fake diagnosis of cancer because he possibly already knew that she was lying because he didn't come at all. Now, they also say the intentional lacing of guests that was servings while also protecting her own portions as well and protecting her children. Okay, this actually helped them to identify the fact that she picked and chose who received what. Now, the pretend illness after the meal also mirrors the symptoms that deflect the suspicions as well, because she attempted to kind of like paint the symptoms connected to her possibly having cancer, but also trying to fake as if she also got sick too. Now, there also is the possibility of the cover up, what police had begun to investigating, including lying about foraging the mushrooms and how she got them, basically saying that she got them from the store, when in fact you cannot get those from the store. You have to actually go to the woods and get them. And then disposing of a dehydrator. So when she realized that all her family members was dying and some of them were sick, she attempted to get rid of the dehydrator that she used for the mushrooms. Okay. And then on top of that, she attempted to wipe her entire house clean of all evidence connected to this entire thing. Now, the survivors and some of the clinicians that was working into this trial, they did say that Ian Wilkinson, he had some severe GI issues as well as some liver involvement as well that he needed to get some help for. And then you also have them believing that Ian had already been previously poisoned before. Now, the doctors for the deceased victims, they did describe a progressive pattern of that was consistent with the death caps. Basically, all of the victims had almost the same exact things happening to them. The prosecution, they did not offer a single or simple motive. Instead, they decided to present a mosaic of reasonings of why she did this and the steps she took to hide it or to commit the crime. That's what they did. Now, when it comes to the defense, of course, they're sticking with the whole this was an accident, she panicked, as well as possibly explanations to all of this and why all of this could have possibly happened. Okay. Basically, they say, yes, she served the lunch. Yes, people died, but it was simply a mistake. She didn't mean it. So she said that she foraged the mushrooms and then the mushrooms were accidentally mixed with the store bought mushrooms in which she had actually got from the store, because there were 2 types. One she got from the store and one she went and foraged. Okay? And she said that she did not know that the death caps were present or had any form of, possibility of killing anybody. So on the question of why she didn't become sick, well, it's clear. She ensured that she didn't have the death caps in her serving of the beef Wellington. Now, Patterson, she did testify at her trial, and she said that she vomited soon after she had took the meal, and that it did leave her with a long-term eating disorder, which she still suffers from today while she's sitting in jail. Okay. Now, she also described that there was some different amounts as well as timings of what she personally had consumed when it comes to the beef Wellington and the lunch that particular day. Now, when it comes to this whole cancer story, she did admit to lying, but she said that the lie was out of embarrassment. and it was overplanned weight loss surgery, and that was not really part of the murder plot, is what she says. Me myself, I think it's exactly what the prosecutors had stated, that she lied in an effort to ensure they will come. But I really think that her entire plan was to get her husband there. Okay? That's my real thing. I really don't think that. Now, do I think that she meant to kill the in-laws and meant to kill? Yeah, I do. But I also think that she really wanted to kill her husband as well. I don't think that she wanted him to walk away to tell a story. Okay? Now, she did say other misstatements, like about the foraging and the dehydrator, which continuously saying that she panicked. Now, there was more than 50 witnesses that did testify over 9 weeks. Doctors, toxicologists, investigators, friends, and family. Patterson herself also took the stand for the days in the cross-examination, and the jury did deliberate, and on July the 7th of 2025, they did give a unanimous decision of guilty on all counts. Now, something very crucial in this entire thing is the fact of her husband, okay? Now, what they tried to do early on in this case was bring forth the husband as a possible victim that survived, that was never properly investigated. The reasoning behind that is because the husband had been getting sick over the years with the same exact symptoms as the family members that died and those that survived. Okay? But they didn't allow it to be submitted. Okay? So he had alleged that he believed that he had been poisoned on multiple occasions between 2021 and 2022, and that the incidents did involve foods like pasta, chicken curry, and also vegetable wraps that resulted in hospitalizations. One episode did include him to have to get surgery, which caused him to be in a coma. Now, those were originally separate attempts of murder that was added to her charges as well. But those were dropped by the prosecutors just before the mushroom lunch trial had began. So they decided to just take her for the family, not the husband per se. And I honestly think because it would really be hard for them to prove, come on now, this happened in 2023. So it would be hard for them to kind of go back into things to really prove that she tried to kill him over the years. Okay? It was a lot for them to even prove that she purposely did this. They literally had to go through scientists and things of that nature to even connect her to doing this on purpose. Okay? So to go back 2 years to prove that she tried it with him would have been a bit much. But do I believe she tried it with him? Absolutely. And I think that Beat Wellington lunch date, he was the real target. She wanted him dead a long time ago. It's just that this time the family is the one that took it and not him. Now, because these things were dropped and separated, the jury did not hear the details about the husband's situation. Okay, they didn't hear it. It was basically just not used in this case. It was definitely on purpose. Okay. Now, that was interesting about this entire thing. Okay. And of course, she hasn't been given her full sentence as of yet, but when she does, I'll definitely let you guys know. The thing is this with this woman here. While she did look she had everybody fooled, let's be honest, from here to Australia. Because a lot of people were looking at her like, this woman doesn't look like she would hurt a fly. Because when she first came to the public, she was, she looked really empathetic. Like she looked like it was an honest mistake. That's what she looked like. And she just didn't fit the script. But when you dig deep down into it, and then you learn about the possible divorce that was supposed to be, on its way, right on the brink of this lunch. When you learn about the husband believing that he was being poisoned over the years, okay, then you have to look at it from a different scope. But a lot of people really didn't understand why was the family there. And it looks like the reason why the family was there is because she lied about this whole cancer thing, which didn't come out until trial. that she lied about this whole having cancer, because people were wondering, well, if he was in the midst of getting a divorce, because if you guys remember, we were like, so was there supposed to be a meeting to possibly convince the husband to not divorce her? Or, one of those mediations and things of that nature that families sometimes have when the divorce is on the brinks, or the divorce is happening, cooking, and comes out she lied. She had people fooled real bad. It's all the way down to lying about cancer, which is sickening to me. The fact that she can lie about cancer lets me know that this woman's mental capacity is not, the elevator stops midway, as we say. Okay? Because that's something that you just don't play about. That lets me know also the type of human being that you were when it came down to the relationship with you and your husband. Because if you would take it this far to poison your family while also secretly poisoning your husband over the years, something tells me that you were a piece of work to deal with the in-laws. You possibly were worse than the woman that we talked about yesterday. If you would take it that far to actually poison them, actually take it a little bit further. You fixed a dinner, lied about cancer. You fixed 2 separate meals, if I remember correctly. You fixed one meal for the kids, which was actually the leftovers from the previous night. Okay? Which lets me know that the previous night you knew what you already had planned. So you left some twos and fews for the kids. And then that following morning, you got up and planned the murder of your family. And if everyone would have passed away, there was 3. So that's a nice number of family members to pass away. And so you actually thought through this, created this lie of cancer to ensure that they come, made an individual servant for each person to ensure the who's of who's will get the outcome that you want them to get. So it makes me wonder, the people that survived, were they supposed to survive, or you just wanted them sick? And the people that died, were they supposed to die? That's what it makes me wonder, because you scientifically thought all of this through. You thought it too so much that the scientists had to come to trial to kind of break this down for the key players in the courtroom, which is kind of crazy to me. You look deep into this, ma'am. Kind of crazy. So that's the update, y'all. On this case I've been watching for a long time, out of Australia. Okay. Tomorrow we do have another case. Make sure that you do turn your notification bells on to find out what happens with that one as well. This is another case, but this one is in the Amish. And y'all know we have covered the Amish a lot, but something is going on in Amish country. Are you guys becoming, regular like us and walking away from your culture? Because is it me, or is it more secrets and more murders happening in Amish country? Because a woman, apparently, they're saying that she's from Amish country. Either she lives there or close by. But they're saying that she purposely drowned her child. Okay. I don't know what's going on over there with y'all, but it's something going on. What? I don't know. But it's something going on, and we're going to get into it tomorrow, okay? Make sure that you guys do like. Amish lifestyle is devilish. Yes, but it seems like either they're becoming like us, where they're accepting more, worldly things, and those worldly things are becoming deadly. That's what it's looking like to me over there. It's a lot of crimes happening over there right now. A whole lot. And typically, the Amish is known to cover this type of stuff up. So either there's a leak somewhere in the country, but y'all got something going on over there, and we're going to get into it tomorrow, okay? Thank you guys so much for tuning in with me today. I appreciate you a lot. And please like this video if you like this video. Also, if you guys have not been keeping up, I have been covering the story of Romika Meeks. She was killed while while dropping off her son at school. And she was killed by her child's father's other baby's mother, okay? While they got into a little domestic scuffle outside of the school, and the woman ended up shooting and killing her. While they're saying that the child's father had held her, and then the other woman took out the weapon and shot her in the face. I have been covering that case over on the TikTok side of things and on Facebook. If you haven't followed me already, make sure that you are following me on TikTok, and it is Savage Royalty ENT. That is my TikTok, okay? Savage Royalty ENT. No Y at the end of royalty, so that you will be able to stay updated with other cases that I do cover on other platforms, okay? You guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow at 10 a.m. for True Crime with Savage Royalty.